Hello, everyone. This is my actual gameplay of playing Crimson Desert and just some of the crazy stuff you can do in this game. The wildlife is just insane. Here I show myself hunting. And, when you initially discover wildlife, a lot of times there will be question marks as to what it is. And so here, this was a gray heron. And so there's just a crazy amount of things that you can do outside of just it's not like your typical first person shooter type game. I mean, while there is that in the game, it's not entirely that. And so another thing to note is that I am playing this on PlayStation 5 Pro. And so just to highlight that, I'm playing this on a large screen TV, and so the immersion, and largely the reason why I play games that way is the immersion factor. Here I show the mechanic of scaling cliffs. It's another crazy type thing. That center icon thing that's in the center of the screen is your stamina. So, if that stamina bar runs out and you're not on a ledge or something, then you wind up falling from your position. So there's kind of like a game within a game, in terms of climbing cliffs and whatnot. And this particular play, I don't have the fly ability. So, as you level a character up, it becomes easier because if you fall, then you can just go into a fly type stance. But again, you've got stamina in regards to that. So, if you run out of stamina and you're flying and you fall all the way to the ground, then you're probably going to die. And I show that because, anytime I start playing a game, I want to know what it is that is going to cause death, because some games you fall and it's no big deal. You maybe sprain your leg or something and it doesn't kill you. And that's one thing that I try to do. I don't necessarily try to play any game in a box. And largely the reason why I like this game is that it's a sandbox with all kinds of stuff going on around you and things that you just exploration. You can see down here coming up down toward the bottom of the screen, now toward the right of the screen, there's like a light down there. And so it's these little things that you're walking around exploring, and you come across this stuff. Here I show where the mechanic to try to get down is different, and so I haven't learned how to fly yet at this point, and this kills me, which is an interesting attribute in and of itself. And then I basically just come back to life here. I mean, it doesn't hurt you any in terms of like losing any loot or anything like that. And I'm still close by to that specific point of interest. And eventually I work my way over there. But part of this is to show you, not to basically, show you what others, because, if depending on how much content you've watched on this game, it's to basically give you a broader, in-depth idea of what this game is. Because, I mean, here's another example of the lunacy with the controls. Here I'm trying to catch these fireflies. And the problem is that the jump key is bound to the same key that I'm trying to catch the fireflies with. Now, they've recently come out with a patch, so this is probably not an issue. It may still be to some degree, but it's just to kind of highlight the problems with controls, and this isn't the only thing. This is just to try to highlight, try to give you, if you've never played the game, try to give you some understanding as to why people are saying, what they're saying about the controls. And so here's the point of interest, things that you can just collect, and it varies. Sometimes it's good stuff, other times not so much. It's just, and so, you got to realize this is early in the game for me. I don't really have very many skills at this point. And so I'm just showing, that you can pick up just about I can pick up just about everything except for that little statue in the center for whatever reason. I don't know. And so I don't know if there's some thing that's going to unlock at that location, later on, when I get leveled up. And so this is another cliff climbing demonstration where you can see the stamina bar, unwinds, but it usually gives you plenty time, and then once you're up on a ledge, then your stamina, goes right back to normal. Oh, and here's another thing to where, like, if you go into dark areas, you have the function of turning on a light, and so I demonstrate turning on the light in this location. And so the unique thing with that, like if you're trying to do stealth or stuff like that, you can basically shut that light off. Like if you're, in a dark area or whatever, then you can shut that light off to try to remain hidden from enemies and whatnot. And so the running mechanic on console is just all I have to do is just pump the X button, which to me that's intuitive. I don't know, if that's the same type of mechanic on other platforms like PC or, I would imagine Xbox is probably similar. And that seems pretty intuitive to me. I mean, it's not like you just have to press and hold down a button. I usually just pump it a few times and then let it go, and I just continue to run. Now that may have changed in this new update that they just recently dropped, because I'm playing this. This was filmed before the update dropped, and here I'm just meandering through, just exploring the area. And I'll probably, the way I play games like this, I'll probably explore nearly every inch of this game on foot. And I just take my time. Here I'm just trying to figure out what the heck this is. And I actually recently broke one of these, and there was like wine stuff in it, potatoes, and sometimes apples. So it's kind of a weird thing. And I found out that if you pick up these crates and break them open, there's sometimes stuff in them. And so the amount of loot, the hidden stuff in this game is just like off the chain. It'll give you various things. I don't know if this is worth anything. So you start off this game not knowing anything. There's a lot of things you don't know. This is an example. I just picked up an acorn and I acquired knowledge by doing that little thing. And so the depth to this game is just crazy. And so here I'm wandering and I run into a group of bad guys, and they don't really chase after you. I mean, they probably will. They probably will at some point, but there's like, I don't know. It's hard to describe the fighting attributes because I've been able to run away from these kind of things. And then this guy from he comes in to aid me, which is another just weird thing that you don't expect. And so, is this guy that came in on the horseback, is he somebody that's going to aid me in the future? I don't know. And so here I greet the guy and I give him some food for his troubles. Because anytime you're making friends in the game, I mean you just don't know how those people are going to play a role in your playthrough. And so is this interaction unique to only my game? Are others going to have a similar encounter? See, these are things that we just don't know yet about this game. And so here I'm just showing you that I gave him a filling grilled vegetable for his trouble. And so this game really isn't about the story. There's already been plenty of others that have voiced their opinion, and so I'm playing it as an exploration type sandbox, and so that's largely how I'm playing it. And so here I'm going around all the bad guys that are dead, and I'm looting the bodies. And I've heard through other videos, other people playing the game, that you can basically win the companionship of an animal, and those animals will loot the carcasses for you. So that's yet another thing that I have yet to experience at this point. And so far, my interaction with animals and things of that nature, it's been very hard for me to acquire the companionship. I mean, I've even gone as far as feeding an animal, and I still have yet to get one. So it's a very in-depth game.